Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we are very happy to meet again on the Islamic Notes channel, where we together bring Islamic values to life through stories that are full of meaning and life lessons. Every story we present is not just entertainment, but also a reminder that in every test there is a hidden blessing. In every step, there is an opportunity to get closer to Allah. These stories teach us to remain patient, steadfast in goodness, and always be grateful for every provision of His. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the stories full of wisdom that we present regularly. Support from all friends means a lot to us to continue presenting useful and inspiring Islamic content. Let's start the story. Eid al-Adha in a foreign country. Portrait of American Muslim life this year. Amidst the hustle and bustle of colorful and dynamic Western culture, Muslims in the United States celebrate Eid al-Adha with unwavering enthusiasm. Although thousands of miles away from the Holy Land, the echo of takbir continues to echo from small mosques to magnificent Islamic centers. This year, Eid al-Adha is once again a special moment for millions of Muslims in Uncle Sam's country. That morning, big cities like New York, Chicago, Houston, and Los Angeles look different. In large public parks, thousands of Muslims from various ethnic backgrounds and countries gathered. Men, women, and children wore their best clothes. Elegant abayas, brightly colored cocoa shirts, sarongs, and pichi, to typical African robes or traditional clothes from South Asia. Although their languages and cultures are diverse, one thing unites them: faith in Allah and the spirit of sacrifice. Eid prayers are usually held in open spaces, school fields, or large halls that are specially rented. In the middle of the American summer, the morning sun shines brightly, but the spirit of worship makes the congregation not afraid of the heat. Since dawn, volunteers have been busy organizing parking, preparing prayer rugs, and distributing cold drinking water to the congregation. After the prayer and sermon, the most awaited moment arrives: the implementation of the sacrifice. In America, the slaughter of sacrificial animals is carried out in an organized manner, in accordance with strict regulations on animal health and welfare. Many mosques and Muslim organizations work with halal-certified slaughterhouses. Cows, goats, and sheep are prepared well in advance. The committee ensures that every process is carried out in accordance with Islamic law and local laws. The sacrificial meat is then distributed not only to Muslims in need, but also to local residents from various backgrounds. Eid al-Adha is an opportunity for sharing across faiths and cultures. Many Muslim communities open the doors of their mosques to non-Muslim neighbors, explain the meaning of sacrifice, and invite them to taste typical Eid al-Adha dishes. In addition to worship and sacrifice, Eid al-Adha is also a time to gather with family and friends. In many homes, the aroma of biryani rice, rendang, kabsa, and various traditional cakes fills the air. Dining tables are decorated with food from various countries, reflecting the diversity of Muslims in America. It is not uncommon for children to receive gifts or Eid money from parents and relatives, making them even more excited to welcome the holiday. However, living as a Muslim in America is not always easy. Amidst rampant Islamophobia and misunderstanding, many Muslims continue to maintain their identity with great courage. This year's Eid al-Adha is a symbol of steadfastness and pride in their faith. In some places, celebrations are even guarded by security forces, not because of concerns from Muslims, but because of protection from potential external threats. Even so, the spirit of Islamic brotherhood remains strong. From Muslim villages in Dearborn, Michigan, to small communities in rural cities, the echo of Eid al-Adha is a sign that Islam is thriving in foreign lands. Amidst challenges and limitations, American Muslims continue to instill Islamic values in young people, strengthening education, building mosques, and engaging with the wider community. Eid al-Adha is not just about slaughtering animals, but also about sacrifice, sincerity, and social awareness. And in America, those values are manifested in actions, not just words. This year's Eid al-Adha proved that even far from their ancestral homeland, Muslims can still preserve their faith with pride, peace, and love. Islam in America today. growing amid challenges and hopes. Islam in the United States is no longer just a minority religion that is foreign to the dominance of Western culture. It has become a growing spiritual, social, and intellectual force. Behind the label of minority, Muslims in America play an increasingly important role in various aspects of life, from education, business, to national politics. Islam is not a new religion in America. Its traces can be traced back to the time of slavery, when some of the African slaves brought to America were Muslims. However, Islam began to be more visible in the mid-20th century, especially with the emergence of movements such as the Nation of Islam that attracted the attention of the Black community. Over time, immigration from the Middle East, South Asia, and Africa brought new faces to the American Muslim community. Today, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the United States, not only because of immigration, but also because of the high number of converts, especially from African Americans and Hispanics. The uniqueness of Islam in America lies in its diversity. The Muslim community here is very pluralistic, consisting of Arabs, Pakistanis, Indians, Turks, Iranians, Africans, Afro-Americans, Southeast Asians, and converts of European descent. In mosques, it is not uncommon to see imams from Sudan, congregants from Indonesia, muezzins from Egypt, and mosque administrators of Native American descent. The lives of American Muslims are not tied to a particular culture. They live side by side with non-Muslim communities and are active in public life. They work as doctors, lawyers, teachers, technicians, artists, and even state officials. Figures such as Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, Muslim members of the U.S. Congress, have become symbols of the rise of American Muslim politics. Currently, there are more than 2,700 mosques spread throughout America, a sharp increase compared to several decades ago. Mosques are not only places of worship, but also centers of education, interfaith dialogue, and social activities. Many mosques have Islamic schools, community centers, and social services for the general public. Islamic education centers are also growing rapidly. The American version of Islamic boarding schools or Islamic boarding schools are starting to be found. At the university level, organizations such as the MSA, Muslim Students Association, have become a gathering place in intellectual development for Muslim students. On prestigious campuses such as Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, Muslim students actively discuss, write, and advocate for civil rights. However, this development is not without major challenges. Islamophobia is still a daily reality for many American Muslims. Verbal attacks, discrimination, and even physical violence sometimes color their lives, especially after the events of September 11th and global conflicts that often portray Islam in a negative light. Even so, the Muslim community does not remain silent. They are increasingly active in defending their rights through legal channels, media, and education. Organizations such as CAIR, Council on American Islamic Relations, work hard to fight for justice and correct misinformation about Islam in the wider community. Another interesting phenomenon is the increasing number of converts. Every year, thousands of people in America choose to convert to Islam, especially because of a deep spiritual search or because of close association with a friendly and open Muslim community. Islam in America is not only embraced, but also discovered through life experiences in the search for meaning. Islam here is a religion that is understood rationally, open to dialogue, and delivered in a local context. Many converts believe that Islam provides spiritual depth as well as balanced life principles in the midst of fast-paced and materialistic modern life. The future of Islam in America looks promising. The young generation of Muslims who were born and raised in America have a strong dual identity. They are proud to be Muslims and Americans. They are able to explain the teachings of Islam in a language and context that can be understood by the wider community. A wave of creativity is also growing among young Muslims. The emergence of Muslim writers, filmmakers, artists, and influencers is a bridge between Islam and popular culture. They voice an Islam that is peaceful, inclusive, and relevant to the challenges of the times. There is no doubt that Islam in America today is writing a new history, not as a foreign religion, but as an inseparable part of the American mosaic itself. Islam here is not just surviving, but growing, taking root, and adding color to the nation's journey. The phenomenon of thousands of Americans converting to Islam. In the midst of the roar of modern and secular Western culture, a phenomenon that has attracted the world's attention continues to occur consistently. Thousands of Americans choose to convert to Islam every year, a fact that for some people sounds surprising, but for those who witness it closely, this is a story of the search for meaning, a spiritual journey, and a human encounter with divine light. According to various reports and surveys from institutions such as the Pew Research Center and the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding, ISPU, it is estimated that more than 20,000 Americans convert to Islam every year. Of this number, almost 2/3 are women and 1/3 are African American. Not a few also come from Christian, Jewish, atheist, or agnostic backgrounds. They come from various ages, educations, and social statuses, from Ivy League university students, housewives, to former soldiers and celebrities. Some learn about Islam from friends, from life partners, from reading the Quran, or even from the desire to refute Islam, which actually leads to the entry of the light of faith into their hearts. Many converts to Islam start from deep questions about life. Who am I? Why was I created? Where do I go after I die? In a fast-paced, individualistic, and materialistic world, these existential questions often lack satisfactory answers. Islam is not just a religion, but a comprehensive system of life. The 5 daily prayers provide structure and discipline in chaotic days. Fasting during Ramadan fosters awareness and empathy. The concept of Tawheed, the oneness of God, frees people from worshiping worldly things, money, position, popularity. Many converts say they find peace in Islam, not in the wealth or entertainment they have always pursued. Contrary to negative media narratives, these converts were not forced to convert to Islam. In fact, most of them came after going through a long process, reading the Quran, discussing with Muslims, or observing the behavior of their Muslim friends. Not a few said they were attracted to Islam after seeing the calm and manners of Muslims, even in the face of discrimination. There are also those who initially studied Islam to refute or criticize it, but instead turned around because they found the beauty and coherence of its teachings. Like the story of Joshua Evans, a former youth pastor from North Carolina, who initially looked for errors in Islam, but eventually became a famous preacher after finding the truth in the Quran. Interestingly, the majority of converts in America are women. Amid accusations that Islam oppresses women, many American women feel spiritual liberation in Islam. They find meaning in the hijab, not as a symbol of restraint, but as an identity and a form of self-protection. Islam honors women, not judging them by their appearance, but by their piety, knowledge, and morals. One female convert said, "I used to feel like I had to be physically perfect to be respected. But in Islam, I am respected as a whole person, not as an object." However, the journey after embracing Islam is not always easy. Many converts have to face pressure from family, lose friends, and even get fired from their jobs. Their new identities are often challenged by an environment that does not understand Islam. Nevertheless, the Muslim community in America is increasingly responsive in welcoming and nurturing converts. Many mosques now have special divisions for converts, providing mentoring programs, basic Islamic classes, and even social and economic support networks. Ironically, the wave of converts also increases after major events that drag the name of Islam into a negative stigma, such as the September 11th attacks or the issue of conflict in the Middle East. When Islam is in the news badly, many Americans become curious and want to know more. They read the Quran, seek out sermons, and dialogue with Muslims. In the process, they discover that Islam is different from what is portrayed in the media. Today, the face of Islam in America is increasingly visible. Amidst the challenges, Muslims continue to grow. The new generation of converts are now becoming dawah movers, writers, speakers, social activists, and even media figures. They convey Islam in a fresh, contextual way that touches the hearts of the wider community. The phenomenon of thousands of Americans embracing Islam is proof that Allah's guidance comes to anyone who sincerely seeks it. Amid the onslaught of culture, amid the storm of slander and disinformation, the light of Islam continues to shine on open hearts. Closing the holiday opening hearts. Islam continues to grow in America. Evening is beginning to fall in American cities. In the courtyards of mosques, the cheerful voices of children are slowly fading. The smell of barbecued meat, left over from the sacrificial feast, is still faintly smelled. In community spaces, volunteers are starting to clear tables, fold chairs, put away paper plates. Eid al-Adha today is slowly coming to an end, leaving behind a trail of warmth, family, and hope. In the midst of a society that is super busy and tends to be individualistic, the celebration of Eid al-Adha is a rare spiritual and social space. It is not just an annual ritual, but a haven for souls who long for closeness, not only to God, but also to fellow human beings. This holiday is not only celebrated with meat and prayer, but with care, reflection, and strengthening of Islamic identity in a multicultural society. But there is something bigger than just celebration, something that is happening quietly yet powerfully. Islam in America is not just surviving, it is growing. This year, Eid al-Adha, celebrations in America show the loving face of Islam. Many Muslim communities use the holiday as a momentum for social dawah. Sacrificial meat is not only distributed to fellow Muslims, but also to non-Muslim neighbors, the homeless, and refugees. Some mosques open their doors for public visits, explaining the meaning of Eid al-Adha to curious local residents. And from these small interactions, the seeds of guidance begin to grow. In the days around Eid al-Adha, many Americans finally say the two sentences of the Shahada after months of searching and asking. A white man from Texas said, "I came to the mosque to see how Muslims celebrate the sacrifice, but instead I went home with a heart that felt full for the first time in my life." The phenomenon of thousands of Americans converting to Islam is nothing new. But interestingly, this trend has never subsided. It has actually increased, especially in today's digital era. Dawah videos on YouTube, interfaith dialogues, and direct experiences with Muslim communities have become gateways for many seekers of truth. Those who come to Islam are not forced nor persuaded. They come because of a spiritual hunger that is not satisfied by the noise of the modern world. They come because they see Islam not just as a religion, but as an answer. For these converts, Eid al-Adha is an unforgettable first experience. They learn to slaughter their egos and desires like the Prophet Abraham. They cry when the takbir sounds, not because of tradition, but because of the vibration of faith that is newly born in their chests. As we close out this year's Eid al-Adha celebration, American Muslims face a reality that is not easy, but full of hope. They live amid prejudice and identity challenges, but they also live in an open space to preach, explain, and show that Islam does not belong to the East, but to all people who seek the truth. Muslim children are now growing up with greater self-confidence. Mosques are becoming centers of guidance and empowerment. Converts are increasingly receiving support, not only spiritually but also emotionally and socially. Islam in America is a tree whose roots are planted in hard soil, but its leaves are shady and its fruit is beginning to be sweet. And every Eid al-Adha is the water that waters it, through worship, sacrifice, brotherhood, and the spirit of sharing that touches the hearts of everyone. Eid al-Adha is over. The prayer mats are rolled up, the meat has been distributed, the warm hugs between brothers have been released, but the spirit is not over. This is precisely where the journey begins. Maintaining piety after Eid al-Adha, maintaining the light of faith amidst the hustle and bustle of the world. And in this land that is said to be the freest and most secular, Islam has found room to grow through the sincerity of its people, through the Shahada that continues to be recited, one by the hearts that Allah has chosen. In America today, Islam is not just present, it is blazing.